Hello, today we visit an old r/AskReddit post to ask managers of Reddit, what is a Karen experience like? What was your worst experience? Make sure to comment any outrageous Karen stories you may have. Unfortunately, I lost my head one day and turned into a Karen. If we get 25 likes, I will put my story in the comment section below. With that, sit back and enjoy. I loved Karens when I was managing. Being able to say, I am the manager, followed soon by, sorry, that's company policy, always results in a flustered Karen leaving in a huff and a much relieved crew. Yep. Then I would get, well, give me your boss's cell number. Absolutely not. There's no way in hell I'm giving out his number. You can come in tomorrow when he's here or call us. I'll give them the corporate number. Corporate doesn't give a shit about Karen complaints. And if they do follow up, I explain the situation. Corporate doesn't care, true, but they will solve the problem by giving Karen free stuff. Sorry you had a problem, ma'am. Here's a card for 3 free pizzas. My worst Karen was a beauty pageant mom. Wanted me to pay for an ad in the back of the patent flyer for $200, claimed she ordered all the time. That's about 20 orders a year, Karen, before I even count expenses. The pageant isn't even being held in my area, sorry Karen. Happened before I became a manager, but once while I was serving at Steak and Shake, customer had a coupon for a burger, fries and a shake for X amount of dollars. Can't remember the price anymore. Anyway, on the coupon it specifically stated that cheese on the burger was 39 cents upcharge, although it did have a picture of a burger with cheese on it. Lady threw a fit in the dining room that I was treating her unfairly, it was false advertising, etc. etc. I told her I agree it's false advertising with the picture, but the text specifically states the upcharge and unfortunately I can't do anything about it. The lady at the next table overheard everything and literally got up and put 50 cents on the table to cover it and said something to the effect of, I'll pay for your damn cheese if you just shut up. This pissed the cheese lady off even more. My manager obviously sensed the issue and came out. Took the cheese upcharge of the bill. Like what the duck Karen. Love how that other lady, I think I'll call her Laroon, is like the Auntie Karen. She probably has daughters. Lauren. The Auntie Karen. I like it. Work at a vacuum repair shop. People don't pay attention to their vacuum cleaners as much as you'd think, lol. I can't tell you how many times someone comes to pick up their vacuum and says, oh, this one isn't mine, or, mine didn't have scratches down the side. I can tell you it is, and it came in with all those scratches on the side. After the first 2 times it happened to me, we started taking pictures of the unit with serial numbers and customer info, send them home with the serial number, and require them to bring it back for pickup. Despite the evidence, I've had a lady close to tears because we didn't have her vacuum. Even with the pictures we had of it at drop-off, her information, the matching serial numbers. Sure, it's a big conspiracy, we just love taking in vacuums and switching all the information around because it's fun. People need to pay more attention. I used to work Geek Squad and once had this happen when a lady came in to pick up her laptop. She explained that it was all of her information, but that the laptop itself wasn't hers. It's like they took all my stuff and put it into a different laptop. Spoke with her daughter, turns out she was in the early stages of Alzheimer's. That was my first experience with the disease and man did it hit hard. And she wasn't even a relative. That story took an unexpected turn. Is there a male version of Karen? Because I had a client like this once. Fairly wealthy, very entitled, and just an ass to work with. We were the contractors doing an extensive remodel on his home, and one of the light fixtures his designers chose was this expensive, custom-order chandelier with a no-return policy. We made sure he signed off on the spec sheet with a picture of the fixture and the no-return policy highlighted. When the chandelier was delivered, he insisted he'd never seen it before and definitely hadn't approved it. He kept insisting on this even after we showed him his signature on the order, even suggesting we forged it to cover a mistake on our part. Yeah, because I'm going to go out of my way to make my life more difficult like that. This male Karen shall be called Kyle. I was the only person on shift, which made me the de facto manager. 5 minutes before closing, a woman comes in and is so angry that we don't have any decaf. She demands to speak to the manager. I tell her that's me because I'm the only one here, and the coffee pots are cleaned for the night because it's 5 minutes to close. No, I'm sorry, I can't make another pot just for her. There's another place around the corner. She screams at me, tells me she's going to find a real manager and get my slut ass fired, throws half a cup of cappuccino machine sludge at me, and starts to look like she's gonna jump the counter. I'm holding a hammer under the counter thinking, don't do it, don't do it. I pick up the phone like I'm going to call the cops. She leaves. I lock the door. She comes back and runs face first into the glass door. Like a bird. Edit. Thanks for the silvers, folks. I'm glad some good could come from this bizarre and stressful as duck experience. Least she is self-aware enough to know she needs decaf and nothing harder, I guess? Did she give herself brain damage? Fall down? Make eye contact? That's alpha as duck. We need the thrilling conclusion to this saga. She fell. At that point I thought, okay, I may be looking at a middle-class white lady's first time trying serious drugs, and I did regretfully have to call the cops to get her so that I could go home without her trying to eat my face or something. She screamed, bitch, cunt, whore, at me the whole time I waited for them. What happened after they came? They started talking to her, she yelled at them and then calmed the duck down once she realized what was happening. They walked her away from the store. After that, I have no idea, because I jogged home pretty quick. Bestest of the best interactions I ever had. Karen griped about not wanting to pay the price for the services performed on her computer, which was exactly the price quoted when she dropped it off and which she had signed for. She demanded to speak to the service manager. I called him from the back. Service manager listened to her spiel as to how she should get a lower price because, irrelevant, pea-brained reason. Service manager made eye contact with me over her shoulder. I did not react. He said no, price quoted was the price that would be charged. She said that was unacceptable, and she would be complaining to the owner, who was a good friend. Service manager observed that he was evidently not that good a friend, since that me was the person she was originally speaking with when she asked for the service manager. Her face was glorious, and made the whole thing worthwhile. I love when people claim to know the owner and that should be enough. For starters, if you were so close with the owner, just call them. Have them call the store and I'd be happy to comply, and I'm sure they'd be happy that I'm not giving away things to anyone claiming to know them. The beat for me was a man talking about how he knew Joe. Joe is his friend and we should respect that, and how poor Joe would be upset. Not knowing anyone named Joe, I didn't see how it was relevant. How do you not know the CEO? The customer demanded. Oh, you mean that guy in line behind you, not at all named Joe? Left without any of his stuff. I'm not in retail anymore, but I was managing a popular mid-range handbag store. Think, typical Karen bag, about $200 to $400. Anyway, most customers were fantastic. This one woman was this Shrek-looking large red-headed lady who stomped in and demanded that we repair her 20-year-old bag for free. And if we couldn't do that, she demanded that we exchange this old ratty smelly 20-year-old bag for a brand new one for her. Recently policy changes had resulted in new prices for this service, but free repairs had about a 1-year warranty on a new bag. Not a 20-year-old one. I tell her as such. I was pretty young to have had the role I did, so she, dissatisfied with my answer, asked to speak to a manager. I told her I'm the manager and she began turning as red as her hair. She screamed and yelled about how she'll call corporate and never shop here again. Well, that sounds like a real loss, losing a customer that is too cheap to repair a 20-year-old bag and hasn't bought new from us in just as long. I give her my best shit-eating grin and say, I am so sorry, that's just the policy. She demands corporate's number. I give her the customer service line that you can find on Google, unbeknownst to her. She huffs away, forgetting her keys on the counter. She's halfway out and she remembers, turns around, red as a beet, huffs in my smiling face and snatches the keys off the counter. It was hilarious. She came back months later, worked with a different person on the team, and didn't even look my way. Real talk though, was she back for more of the same, or did the cheap bitch finally cave and buy another? Finally caved, came back to spend more. Obviously she really committed to never shopping here again. Oh hell yeah. Buckle up. I worked as a manager at a chain barbecue restaurant, we will call it Popular Charlie's. There was this lady who we called Nacho Lady, I'll get into why. She was that, kinda overweight, holistic living, anti-vax, essential oil, military wife, my 2-year-old daughter who I talk to like a coherent adult is going to change the world type lady. With all the Karen aesthetics to match. We all dreaded her when she came in. We call her Nacho Lady because whenever she comes by, she orders our nachos at our takeout area. No big deal. But she would want everything on the side. Which again, no big deal in most situations because I understand that nachos get soggy really, especially to go. But what some people don't understand is seeing the actual proportions for everything. 2 ounces of anything really isn't that much. That goes for the cheese, chili, beans, nacho sauce, all the works. Even though it is all proportioned equally, the customer doesn't like what they see, and that's where the backlash happened with Nacho Lady and the Karen moment starts happening. She didn't like the actual proportions and demanded more but refused to pay for it. Our takeout specialists were good at standing up for themselves and the rules. Of course she didn't accept it, so she had to speak to a manager, myself or 2 others depending on the day. She would also order 2 kids' meals, pork sandwiches and fries. Again, no big deal, but she was very particular about this one as well. The pork had to be dry, no barbecue sauce in a separate container. Kids' buns toasted, which we don't usually do. The fries had to be dropped as soon as she walks in the door so they are crispy and fresh for when she takes them all the way home. Because of her extreme specifications, it got to the point where only a manager was allowed to take her order and only a manager could review the order with her. This was always the most nerve-wracking part because she would sit down at our waiting table in the takeout area, and open every single box and inspect everything. Which we would typically do in the first place, but the way she went about was very Karen. This is when all the issues would happen. Fries were never hot and fresh and crispy enough, sent back to get new ones. Not enough of the portioned pork for the kid sandwich, demanded more. Not enough cheese sauce and shredded cheese, demanded more. Not enough tortilla chips, you know the rest. The list goes on. And to top it all off, she somehow got a hold of a shit ton of free kids meal coupons that were blank, meaning no manager signature, dates, or any sort of validation that she got it legit. A coupon is no big deal. But a typical coupon can only be used one at a time with one transaction. But a Karen being a Karen, she demanded we used 2 out of her giant stack so she gets her kids' meals for free. This got to the point where things had to be ran by the GM. Even if it means calling him on his day off. He was bit of a bitch and always allowed it, but she started costing us money. It wasn't feasible for her to keep coming back and having her as a customer because 9.5 out of 10, we would end up having to send stuff back to the kitchen which would get wasted. My other manager, Billy Joe, was a fierce bitch that never let anyone walk over her. She was awesome. She finally stepped up and made a call over the GM's order and 86 her. When that moment came, we all huddled in the office and watched the security cameras as Billy Joe ripped her a new one. That was an unforgettable day. I left and got out of the restaurant industry and management because of how toxic that field can be, but I do love that I have a Karen story. After going back and forth on an issue we couldn't help with, the customer on the phone said something to the effect of, "Well, that's not good enough." And after being fed up I simply said, "Well, you not liking the answer doesn't mean the answer changes." And she said, "That's really unprofessional." And I said, "You thinking it's unprofessional also doesn't change the answer." And then she said, "Let me talk with your manager." To which I got to say, "I am the manager, we're going in circles. If you'd like you can email me at manager@company email, in which case I'll review your complaint to determine if it needs to be escalated." She was not happy when she hung up. My manager was laughing now. With that, thank you for watching all the way until the end, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your outrageous Karen moment, and remember, if this video gets to 25 likes I will share my Karen story down below. If you want to continue to watch my content, click one of the videos above. Until next time.